college or university. Halifax Community College has been there for me and our community for 53 years. Thank you for attending today's ceremony.
Good morning. I bring greetings to students, faculty, and staff members, community members, and our esteemed guests that are here today. On behalf of Halifax Community College, we welcome you to our panel discussion today that's going to highlight Native residents of the Roanoke Valley in healthcare careers. At HCC, we believe it's not only important to train our workforce, but also to celebrate culture. And HCC is designated as a predominantly Black institution because the majority of our students are of African descent. We have a series of events scheduled throughout this year that celebrate the diversity of our region and our student population. From veterans to presidents, we honor people for many reasons in this country and at special times of remembrances. These annual events by themselves do not begin with the stories of the history and the people who helped them write the stories. However, having events like this one today help us bring a little bit closer to the impact that African Americans have made in our society and here in the Roanoke Valley. We appreciate so much your attending today's event and also look forward to you returning to HCC for future events. Thank you.
Good morning. God is good, isn't he? And all the time. You know, Lance Martin, who was my good friend and with R.R. Spin, I got to say this, Lance, we got to get Mr. Coatfield at the Super Bowl next year. He's got to sing that at the Super Bowl. Don't you think so? Let's give Mr. Coatfield a big hand. As mentioned, my name is Vernon Bryant, and I'm the chair of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, and I see one of my colleagues from over the water, Commissioner Buffalo from Northampton County. Very happy to have her here as well. But on behalf of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, our 46,000 plus citizens, and our 562 Halifax County employees, I bring you greetings. And I have to say that it's very hard to kind of stand here or even walk in this building and not think about the late, great fifth president of this community college, Dr. Michael Anthony Elam. You know, this guy meant so much to this college, to the commissioners and this community, not only to Halifax, but to Northampton County and the surrounding counties. And he will certainly be missed. And I think Ms. Mack very appropriately recognized him in the very beginning. Also, I wanted to give due respects to the interim president, Dr. David Forrester. We look forward to his leadership. But we're here today to talk about folks in the medical profession, nurses, doctors, et cetera, who have graduated from Halifax and Northampton County schools. Isn't that incredible? Let's give them a big hand. You know, I'm a product of Halifax County and the Wells City school system, and I went to college at Fayetteville State University. But anyway, you know, you have to always remember, you can't forget from whence you came, and you need to go back and give a hand wherever you can. Again, on behalf of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners in Halifax and Northampton County, I do welcome you and thank all of you all for being here. God bless you.
A little bit more difficult at times to take this mask off. Thank you to everyone who gave greetings. Nash UNC Healthcare is the sponsor for today's program. And on your way out, please make sure you take the opportunity to go by and visit the table that they have here to my left. At this time, I welcome Dr. L. Lee Isley, CEO of Nash UNC Healthcare, to come to the podium and give a sponsorship spotlight.
Thank you, Ms. Mack. We are, as Nash UNC, happy to sponsor this event today. It's important for all of us to be engaged in these types of events and these important conversations. I am personally humbled as we celebrate and recognize our local successful healthcare professionals, members of our community who grew up, received their early education here in our community, and more importantly, were instilled with our values. They are now instilling and influencing others with our local values and making positive impacts in their practices. Many were eager to get involved with Halifax Community College, and I appreciate Dr. Forrester with the tour this morning of the health science areas. Many of our patients at Nash UNC are from this area. Many of our staff employees are from the Halifax, Northampton area, and we feel it's important that our teams represent the patient populations we serve. We're thankful to Halifax Community College for hosting an event on STEM and healthcare. We have an excellent panel of speakers today, which includes my favorite anesthesiologist. I'm a little biased by that, but Dr. McGuire. It's also important that we recognize the current demographics of healthcare professionals in general do not reflect the diversity of our communities and country. The professionals who provide care in our communities should reflect the communities in which we serve. Nash is committed to this endeavor. Together, we can make this more equitable. We want to help prepare students of Halifax County and this region for careers in healthcare. As you likely know, there's an incredibly high demand for healthcare professionals, and the pandemic only furthered this need. In fact, the Bureau of Labor Statistics project healthcare careers will grow by 16% over the next 7 years. So if you're interested in healthcare, you're in the right field. Healthcare and hospitals are micro communities inside of our larger communities that we serve. The support, the teamwork, and being a member of something larger than ourselves. I cannot think of any other more rewarding career than being a healthcare provider. Nash UNC is committed to supporting our community, not only in providing exceptional patient care, but also providing career opportunities to the individuals who live in our communities and who are aligned with our organizational goals. Our values are rooted in service leadership, trust and compassion, excellence in safety, quality, and service, and building connections with our community. If you'd like to be part of that Nash culture, we'd love to speak with you. I have Shelley and Lisa here with me today, who are members of the human resource team, and they would love to be able to answer your questions and give you further information about the healthcare fields we have available at Nash UNC. In addition to nursing, we also offer full-time, part-time opportunities in allied health, such as paramedics, phlebotomists, respiratory therapists, medical lab technicians, CT technicians, and surgery technicians, just to name a few. In addition to the opportunities within the clinical areas, we also are seeking individuals with interest in hospitality, criminal justice, and healthcare administration. At Nash, we're committed to not only offering competitive wages, but For those who haven't quite decided or are thinking about expanding their educational background, we offer educational scholarships and tuition assistance. We offer clinical ladder programs and other programs to support our staff in advancing through the system to achieve their career goals. I'd encourage you to meet our HR team that's here with me today. Visit our website or contact our HR department at 962-8015. We are offering sign-on bonuses for some positions up to $15,000, rent assistance while you're going through school, and more. In closing, I'm thrilled to be part of and to grow our partnership with Halifax Community College and to continue to expand our workforce from this region. We look forward to seeing the great things that you all will achieve in your professional development and how you will shape the future of healthcare. I look forward to hearing from our panel and learning from our program today. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nash UNC Healthcare, for supporting our event today. And please make sure you take the opportunity to go and visit their booth or reach out to them about career opportunities. Let's give them another round of applause for supporting us this morning. Will everyone please stand for the singing of our Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing by Mr. Cofield.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
You may be seated. Again, thank you, Mr. Cofield, for sharing your soulful, beautiful voice with us this morning. Next, we will have Ms. Akayla Frazier, a student ambassador, to introduce our moderator. After the introduction, the moderator will lead us in our panel discussion.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to introduce the moderator for this morning's panel discussion. As a youth in the 1970s and 80s, Travis Gales had a great appreciation and love for music on the radio. He began playing and collecting music at 15 years old and set the goal of becoming a DJ while still in high school. His musical studies continued at the collegiate level, and he earned a scholarship to participate in North Carolina Central University's marching band. While in college, he learned about live sound enhancement and DJing college events. Over time, his focus shifted from playing instruments to controlling the sound. It became apparent to him that DJing was his gift. After graduation, with a degree in musical history, he earned an associate's degree in radio broadcasting from Central Carolina Community College and began working with Raleigh FM radio station WQOK K97.5. In addition to working as a radio personality, he has provided services for concerts, festivals, schools, and corporate events. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause as our moderator takes his seat on stage.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? Hello, everyone. How are you doing? That is great to hear. My name is Travis Gillis. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And thank you for inviting me to this forum. And again, it's a pleasure to be here and it's an honor. At this time, I'm going to take a moment to introduce our panelists for this presentation today. Ms. Frazier, I'd like to thank you for your introduction. And I'm going to introduce each panelist, and again, if you can give them a rousing applause as we bring them up. At this time, I want you to pay attention to our screen. We have our first panelist who is here virtually. She's an assistant professor and clinical nurse and chief diversity officer at Ohio State University College of Nursing. She holds a doctor of nursing practice from Ohio State University and postmaster certificate and family nurse practitioner from the University of Cincinnati, a Master of Science in Nursing with a specialty in women's health, and a Master's of Public Health Services Management and Policy from Ohio State University. She's also holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology from North Carolina Central University, go Eagles, and she attended classes here in Halifax County College while in high school. She's is a 1996 graduate of Northwest Halifax High School. And she is joining us virtually on the screen right now. Can y'all give a big wave for Dr. Angela Austin, please? Thank you. All right, our next panelist is employed as a pediatrician at Moses Cone Memorial Hospital, Cone Health, in Greensboro, North Carolina. She holds a Doctor of Medicine from the UNC School of Medicine, a Master's of Science in Public Health from the University of North Carolina, Gilling School of Global Public Health, and is a recipient of the National Research Service Award, Primary Care Research Fellowship at the UNC School of Medicine. She performed her residency in pediatrics at the University of Chicago Hospital. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology from UNC Chapel Hill, and she graduated from Weldon High School. How about a round of applause for Ms. Maureen Ben Davies? Okay. Our next panelist, she's the director of Halifax Community College Dental Hygiene Program. She holds a Master of Science in Dental Hygiene from University of Tennessee Health Science Center, as well as a Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene from UNC Chapel Hill. She's a 1975 graduate of Gaston High School. How about a round of applause, Ms. Berner Hyde? Okay. Have a seat here. All right. Our next panelist holds a clinical laboratory scientist at UNC, is a clinical laboratory scientist at UNC Health of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She holds a Bachelor of Science of Clinical Laboratory Science from Winston-Salem State University, an associate's degree in medical laboratory technology, and a certificate of phlebotomy from Halifax Community College. She's a 2010 graduate of KIPP Pride High School. How about a round of applause for Ms. Krista Lynch? All right, our next panelist is a partner at Providence Anesthesiology Associate serving as an anesthesiologist at Nash UNC Healthcare in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. He holds a Doctor of Medicine from the Mayo Clinic School of Medicine. He performed his residency at the Medical College of Virginia and continued his studies at the University of Florida in acute pain and regional anesthesiology. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering and a Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering from North Carolina State University. He's a 1997 graduate of Southeast Halifax High School. How about a graduate? About a round of applause for Mr. Antonio McGuire. Doctor Antonio McGuire. Great, thank you. Just have a seat. All right, our next panelist is a staff operating room nurse at Duke Regional Hospital in Durham, North Carolina. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from North Carolina Central University, an Associate of Arts in General Education from Halifax Community College, as well as a Practical Nurse Diploma from Halifax Community College. He is a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army Reserves and a 2011 graduate of KIPP Pride High School. How about a round of applause for Mr. Jalen Miller? All right, our next panelist. She is a clinical pharmacist for Rural Health Group Incorporated. She worked for 3 rural health groups, pharmacies, including the one in Hollister, North Carolina, and Stouffville, North Carolina. She works also on clinical projects that include medication therapy management, chronic care management. She holds a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from UNC Elsman School of Pharmacy and is a Bachelor of Arts in Exercise Sports Medicine from UNC Chapel Hill. She's a 2012 graduate of Northwest Halifax High School. How about a warm welcome for Ms. Jade Mills? All right, our next panelist, she's an operating officer of the Rural Health Group Incorporated. She holds a Doctor of Nursing practice as well as a Master of Science in Nursing Informatics from Duke University. She received a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from East Carolina University and an associate's degree in nursing from Halifax Community College. She is a 1994 graduate of Northwest Halifax High School. Give a round of applause for Ms. Keisha Rooks. Okay. All right, our next panelist is the owner of W.D. Welch Counseling, and it's a private therapeutic organization in Raleigh, North Carolina. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with a minor in African American Studies from the University of North Carolina, Master of Science in Social Work from North Carolina Central University. In addition to performing a post-bachelorette pre-medical studies from UNC Greensboro, she holds a license in clinical social work certification and is a 2001 graduate of Roanoke Rapids High School. How about a round of applause for Jamaria Welch? All right, how about a round of applause for all our panelists here? All right, as you can see, we got a great panel here of people who are well-trained, well-educated, and hopefully thoroughly informed to give you information how you can plan your future and your endeavors going forward, okay? Now, as we begin, I'm going to start by asking questions for the entire panelists, and we can go down the line and you can answer each question. And just make sure that our microphones are on by pushing the push button. In front of you should see that there. Great. Everyone should see the push button on the microphone. We should get started here, okay? All right, for our first panelist here, and if you could begin, repeat your name, that way everyone would know who you are, okay?
Jamaria Welch.
Okay, all right, Jamaria. Now, when you went to college, do you feel your high school education lagged behind your peers from urban areas? And if so, what did you do to catch up?
Sure, what an honor to go first, right? I think we absolutely, coming from rural North Carolina, felt most of my counterparts that I went to school with felt that we were a little bit behind, right? In terms of mathematics and especially at a big university like UNC North Carolina, right? What did I do to move ahead? I definitely networked with fellow colleagues or fellow graduates from Roanoke Rapids High School that had already been there to find out what they were doing to survive and succeed. And I was in extra study halls. I got to know professors, just a lot of networking and being honest, right? Being truthful about what my needs were at that time.
All right, great. And Jamaria? Thank you.
Good morning. Again, Keisha Rooks.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, sorry, Keisha.
Okay, no problem. I would have to echo that I did feel as if I had not had the same exposures as others in other high schools because we were in a rural area and there are a lot of resources and a lot of experiences that simply weren't available. So coming out of high school and being around others and you're hearing their experiences, and I really didn't have anything to contribute to that. So I feel like, yes, I did lag behind. I got the fundamentals in high school, you know, the mathematics, the sciences, the English, but there were things about college, about life that I feel like others knew more about than I did. In terms of how I caught up, networking. It was talking to people. It was getting outside of that comfort zone. It was not being afraid to try new things, not being afraid to say, I know or I don't know.
Thank you, Keisha. Jay, do you have an answer or response?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jade. Yes, I also agree with what's been said, especially in the math and science courses. I felt behind in those courses, probably because of the less resources we have in rural areas. Specifically, some memories I have is like my first day in microbiology. The students already knew how to use microscopes and how to focus in to see bacteria. And I was just like, I don't even remember touching one before today. But I would say I did feel prepared, or that I had a good foundation in writing and English. I had great English teachers at Northwest. But the way that I handled those situations, I lived in office hours. I felt like initially like at first, from like high school, I felt that, you know, when you go to your professor is when you're really struggling and you're trying not to fail. But I learned in college that those who went to office hours were those who wanted to keep A's and B's. So I followed that lead and I always went to my professors and then networked with people who I saw were doing well in the class and became friends with them too. So.
Thank you. Jalen.
Hey, good morning. I'm Jalen Miller. I would say I was prepared as for the future when it came to my college education. I graduated from KIPP Pride High School. I felt like they gave us a really good education and evidently it actually carried on to my college education as well. Because we were exposed to a lot. We went to several different college universities, just touring and getting a feel of what it may be like to be a college student. I also feel like even though KIPP has prepared you like educational wise to continue on into college, it was most for me as to like working hard, getting them fundamentals, was led me into becoming an officer in the Army or joining the Army. So yeah, thank you.
All right, Jalen, thank you. Dr. McGuire.
All right, so how many, again, I'm Dr. McGuire. You can call me Antonio. My family calls me Trell. But I'm currently an anesthesiologist at UNC Nash in Rocky Mount, right down the road. So, and I'm from Halifax County. I graduated from Southeast, class of '97. But let me ask this question to you first. Okay, who is a high school student right now? Can you stand up if you're a high school student? Okay. All right, awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, you can sit down. I know your attention spans are short. You have that TikTok attention span. And then if you're in college right now, can you raise your hand if you're currently attending HCC? Okay, awesome. Okay, and I want you to raise both hands if you have an interest in the healthcare field. Raise both hands if you have even the smallest interest in the healthcare field. Raise them high. Okay, awesome. That's great. Wonderful. So going back to the question, I graduated valedictorian from the class of '97, which really Hardy can attest is probably one of the best classes that ever came out of Southeast High School. And we had some amazing teachers. Mr. Hardy, you all wouldn't know him, but awesome teachers, great, amazing, very interactive, very knowledgeable, very motivating teachers. Having said that, when I got to NC State, so I was valedictorian, yes, but I didn't really have to study, okay? I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm gonna keep it real. When I got to NC State, I learned how to study, okay? So I was there on need-based and merit-based scholarship, and no one was paying my bill. It was all on me. I was responsible for everything, and I was not going to fail, okay? So I showed up, just like these people said, I was in my professor's face. I showed up to class. I went to TA hours. Even if I didn't necessarily need tutoring, I went and showed up because sometimes they may give you a slip up and give you a question that may be on your next test. So you show up to class, you show up to tutoring hours, to your TA hours, and that's what helped me to keep up good grades in college. That I didn't have to work that hard in high school, but I had to do that to keep up with the people from Raleigh and Charlotte. I had to do that, and it paid off.
All right, great, thank you. Okay, now we can get a comment from Crystal.
I'm Krista Lynch. I feel like Kip prepared me a lot. So I was prepared educational wise, but as far as being around a lot of people, that wasn't my thing. I went to UNC Greensboro when I first graduated in 2010, and it was people from all over the world, it was people everywhere, and I had no choice but to network and make friends, because if I didn't make friends, I was gonna be the only one there, because most of the people I went to school with who graduated with me, they were not in the medical field, so I was by myself. So I had no choice but to network, make friends with people in my class, and also, as everyone was saying, go see my professor, stay in my professor's face, email my professor. If anything was wrong, I had to talk because I was prepared with my education, but as far as networking, I didn't have that skill whatsoever.
Thank you, Crystal. Ms. Hyde.
Good morning. My name is Verna High, Dental Hygiene Director here at Halifax Community College. Did my high school prepare me? No. But my high school gave me all that it had to give me. I graduated from a class of 54 students. My first chemistry class had over 500 students there. Was I prepared? No. But home, my family, gave me the preparation that I needed to be successful.
Okay, I'm Maureen Ben Davies. I'm a pediatrician who works in Greensboro. I finished in '98 from Weldon High School. I didn't feel prepared going to Chapel Hill. It was a huge university, drastic shift from our small, 1A school in Weldon. But I will say that, this area gave me one, willpower, stamina, resilience. The underdog kind of sensation is a trigger too. You feel like you're not as good as anybody else, so you fight harder. It gave me grit, honestly. And my parents are already from an immigrant background. I already feel like I have to compensate for things that I may not have as well as other people. So I will say that growing up in an area like this gave me a little bit of advantage because I always felt like I had to struggle and fight. And that is an edge when you're going into any professional career in the healthcare field. So academically, it was harder, but there are resources to take advantage of. Lots of universities have things to take advantage of in terms of extra study hours, TA. There are programs that can give you an edge in the summer. So just be very resourceful, and using those tools that I got here, I got to where I am.
Thank you, Dr. Ben Davies. And not to leave you out, I want to have Dr. Austin to respond virtually on camera.
Thank you. I agree with everything that everyone has said thus far. I too was valedictorian of my high school class in 1996. I will say that going to North Carolina Central University was a great experience for me. I lived in the honors dorm. It was a smaller dorm with a small amount of students. So I felt like I really had a connection with people that made it, I think, easier for me to transition into college life. I also had praying parents and people who supported and wanted to see me successful, which I think helped. I've always been very energetic and just had a desire to learn, as you could probably tell by my CV that they outlined here. And I think that helped to keep me going, and it helped me to recognize where my opportunities were, and I wasn't afraid to work harder in order to get to where I'm at. So were there experiences and exposures that I think someone mentioned earlier that I didn't have? Absolutely. But I think going to a smaller school, I didn't feel that transition as bad as I did when I came to Columbus and went to graduate school at The Ohio State University.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. All right, now I want to ask some of our panelists individually a couple questions here. Dr. Austin, how many years does it take to become a nurse practitioner? And what are the steps you need to take to achieve that?
Sure. So there are several different routes that people can be on in order to become a nurse. I did a non-traditional route. I have a bachelor's degree in biology. So I did what was called a graduate entry program, which is designed for individuals who have a bachelor's degree in something else. So the program was 3 years full-time. The first 2 years focused on becoming a registered nurse. I do not have a bachelor's degree in nursing at all. At the conclusion of that 3-year program, I graduated with a master's degree and was able to sit for my women's health nurse practitioner certification. So for me, it was 3 years of graduate school, but keeping in mind, I had already completed a 4-year undergraduate degree. So depending upon how people become a nurse, the time to become a nurse practitioner can vary. So if someone has an associate degree, for example, they'll need to complete their bachelor's degree and then go on to complete graduate school, which may be 1 to 2 years, depending upon if you pursue it full or part-time.
Okay, thank you. Now, Dr. Austin, just to follow that up, now you left here in went West Halifax, North Carolina Central, I've heard. Then you went to Ohio. So what was that like moving from North Carolina to Ohio to continue your education?
It was hard. I came to graduate school at Ohio State because I was on a full scholarship and I got a living stipend. And I had not applied to any other graduate school. So my mom told me that since I decided to make that decision, that Ohio State was where I was going to go for graduate school. So they packed me up and we drove to Columbus, and here I am today. But it was hard. I didn't know anyone. It was very different. I had gone to a mostly Black high school, Black undergrad, and then I came to Ohio State, and I was just not used to being around so many people that did not look like me. The pace of everything was different. It snowed a lot. I wasn't used to driving in snow. I had a 5-speed Honda Civic and did pretty good in the snow, but I wasn't used to driving in snow. I missed my family tremendously, and it was just different. So I had a hard time, I would say, initially when I moved here, just transitioning. And things were just different. I flew home probably once a month for the first few months that I lived out here because I was struggling to be out here by myself. But once I got used to things, I was an AKA, I was initiated at North Carolina Central. I transferred into the graduate chapter when I moved to Columbus. So I had that network of people that helped. And once I got to know other people, then it was okay. But initially it was rough.
Okay, great. Thank you. My next question is for Dr. McGuire. How did you feel moving Midwest to attend medical school at the Mayo Clinic? And was there a culture shock moving Midwest as well?
Yes, somewhat, yes. It was, you know, I initially moved to Minnesota for, it was a program for minority students to do research and that may have a research and they might have an interest in clinical research as a career. So it was a one-year program, and it kind of just, we took classes and we, you know, were paired up with a mentor that was an investigator in the sciences. And we kind of had projects and things like that, and to see if we really wanted to do it as a career. And so I applied for the program and actually got accepted to the program, not knowing what it would lead to. And I was also going to use that year to study for my MCATs and kind of see where that would lead me. And MCATs are your entrance or admissions exam for medical school. And so anyway, when I left, I graduated college, I think I was 20, 21, whatever, and you're moving to the Midwest. I didn't know anyone. It's cold, and your family's, like this young lady said, you know, your family's down here, and you know, you have to get used to the snow and ice. And you know, my roommate was from New York, and he said, "Man, you sound so country." And so then I had to try to, like, maybe should I change the way I talk? Just because, you know, they weren't used to my Southern accent or whatever, I don't know. And, you know, they don't say soda, it's pop. Yeah. And, you know, they don't have sweet tea, everything is unsweetened tea, which now I drink that now anyway, but, and, you know, you have to get used to driving on ice and things like that. You get used to eating rhubarb pie, and rhubarb is like this tart weed that, you know, people make desserts with. It's rhubarb, but we don't have it here really in the Southeast. But anyway, but the people are really nice. And what I learned was, if you show up and be yourself, be authentic and be nice, just be you and be nice, people will return that favor, return that attitude, or return the actions. And they were all nice to me. And there's actually a term called Minnesota nice. Yeah. Have you ever heard that? Yeah. But all Minnesotans, they remind me a lot of North Carolinians, that they're very nice. They'll speak to you. So it was a culture shock, yes. But then what happened was, and I'll just add this, in my year of being a research student and applying to medical schools and things like that, my mentor was Dr. Joyner. He was an anesthesiologist, and he studied exercise physiology. And the guy next door was an investigator as well, but he was also on the admissions committee for the medical school. And I would show up to different things, and I always had a good attitude and things like that. And he took interest in me and actually put in a good word for me. And, you know, at the meetings for the admissions to medical school. So had I not shown up and been myself and shown my enthusiasm and my, you know, good attitude, I probably would not have gotten into the medical school, which only has 45 spots, and everyone gets full tuition, full scholarship. So again, you know, you get out what you put into it. So that was a long answer, but.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I understand. And the experience in the Midwest, I agree with you completely. It's a different experience, and there are some nice people there. My next question is for Dr. Rooks. How did your associate's degree from HCC prepare you for your career in healthcare?
When I initially started here at HCC, I really didn't know a lot about college. And so it taught me how to navigate a bigger educational system. I can remember being in anatomy and physiology and feeling like I was this small in the room, and that just the material was huge for me. Just trying to figure out, oh my goodness, how am I going to balance all of the things, all of the demands for, prerequisites, getting into the program. At that time, it was a very competitive process. And how do I position myself to be chosen for that program? So I believe that HCC prepared me in terms of how to organize, how to make decisions, how to persevere, and how to be resilient in whatever it is that I do.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch, can you answer that for us as well?
Ms. Lynch?
Yes. Ms. Lynch, Crystal?
Crystal. I feel like HCC prepared me. Mr. Barker and Ms. Davis stayed on me. I was not confident in myself when it came to the medical field whatsoever. Every day I was gonna quit. But they made sure I stayed on top of I knew it, but I just didn't feel confident that I knew enough to get out there and be with everybody else. But Mr. Barker and Ms. Davis, they were my motivation to keep going. And they prepared me for a lot, because after leaving HCC and going to Winston-Salem, my confidence booster, I had a big confidence booster, because they made me see that, Crystal, you know what you're doing, you got it, and you're gonna do it. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Jalen, can you answer as well for the group?
Yes, sir, I can. I feel like getting my degree at HCC had prepared me, because it was my building block, my foundation. This is where I started. This is where I learned how to officially study. The first program I graduated from was the Licensed Practical Nurse program. It was a diploma program, which it was, I would say, harder than my BSN degree, to be honest, because the turnaround for students were high. We started with about, we started with about 18 students, and then we ended up with maybe like 10 students at the end graduating. So as for my education at HCC, it has definitely prepared me. It taught me a lot about how to study proficiently, just around just how to be a well-rounded student, how to work hard, be dedicated in what you want to do. And everything that I've gone through, I have pushed forward and been successful at it. I just try to be myself and push forward to do greater things, and to show that anyone that's my color or my race or my gender, we're able to do the right things. We're able to succeed in the medical field. That's one thing I've learned at HCC. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalen. Chris, I have a follow-up question. Now, you utilized the articulation agreement with Winston-Salem State University to earn your bachelor's degree. Will you tell us about your experience with Winston-Salem State University?
It was pretty simple. Once I graduated, I went directly into Winston-Salem. I spoke with Dr. McKelvin. I still talk to her to this day. She's the director, and I talk to her every day. She checks on me. I put in my application, and I just went through the process of being admitted into Winston-Salem State University. It was simple. The classes were hard. Oh my God. The classes were tough because they were all online. So I never stepped foot on Winston-Salem State's campus until the day I graduated. But it was trying to be a full-time mama, full-time worker, and a full-time student, because I went full-time. I didn't go half-time. I went full-time. Was hard. It was difficult, but I did it. Taking exams, having to take 2 hours of my day at my job, or 2 hours of my day on my weekend, second exam, or it was just, I had surgery when doing it, and they were very understanding about it. They, gave me my work early. I was able to turn my stuff in. It was a hard program because it was all online, because I'm not an online person, but the program and the people in the program, the teachers were amazing, so.
Okay, thank you. Now for the panelists, real quick, can you share with the students the one class that you took either before you got here or after that prepared you the best for your four-year college or university? We can go down the line here. The one class that you think turned the corner, or the one class you maybe should have taken that would have helped you.
Yeah, so I think the one class that changed my world probably was psychology.
Psychology.
Absolutely. It sparked the interest in understanding why we behave the way we do.
Okay,
Right?
thank you.
I think I disappointed my father a little bit because he wanted medicine. So it was just about figuring out how I incorporate or how I end up in the medical field, but not have to have blood, guts, and throw up to do that, right?
Okay.
I would have to say, actually, and this is probably going to be surprising, that sociology, because I believe that healthcare is a lot about relationships. And so in sociology, it teaches you a lot about human interaction. And that is one of the foundational things when, no matter where you are in healthcare, relationships matter. So that class taught me a lot about recognizing backgrounds, recognizing differences, respecting those differences, and how to adapt to the choices, to the beliefs, and to the preferences of others.
All right, thank you.
I would say chemistry, and chemistry was my favorite subject. And I think it's one that intimidates a lot of people. It's just like you say, it's a hard class, and you hear other people say it, so you just already come in thinking that it's hard. But I really enjoyed that class, and it taught me that it taught me that I'm good at problem solving, which math does too, but it taught me that I was good at problem solving. And so it's like, okay, why am I good at this subject? And when you look at the reason why you're good, is it because you enjoy writing? Is it because you enjoy problem solving? So I think that once I conquered that class and realized that I enjoyed it, it gave me that confidence to just be like, well, I can take anything and do well in it. So
Thank you. Jalen.
Okay. I would totally agree. Chemistry was my favorite course I took in nursing school. I say one thing about chemistry was that I failed at it. I failed at the first time while in high school. I didn't pass it. I failed it. And when I went to college, I focused in and studied, focused in and passed the course, was able to pass the course. So where I'm coming from is the course is important because it prepares you for those calculations. And as for future nurses in here who is aspiring to be nurses, those calculations is one of the harder tests that a lot of people fell out of. And that's what led me to pass it. It led me to passing to where I'm at to now. So that's why.
All right, thank you.
Bible study and Sunday school, because it's a lot of prayer. So, not being honest, but yeah. So yeah, prayer helped me to get through college, prepared me for a 4-year college institution. Also, I think chemistry, physics helped me in high school to kind of realize what I wanted to do and what I wanted to major in college, which ended up being biomedical engineering. But sociology of medicine was a class that I took on a whim. I didn't, because I was actually a civil engineering major to start out with. And I took the class sociology of medicine just because I needed a sociology. And I learned, again, I went to a non-HBCU. So it was just like a handful of brown people. But the whole class, we focused on like health disparities and how people that looked like me suffered the worst from, hypertension and diabetes and all these things. And the class, although it was just like an elective, I was just taking it, but it's funny how God works, because then at night I would think about it. I'm like, wow, maybe I could do something to help these issues. Or maybe, I started having those thoughts that I never would have had I not taken that course. I probably wouldn't be sitting on the stage if it wasn't for the sociology of medicine course that I took. And we talked about how minorities suffered the greatest from, had the greatest health disparities. So.
Thank you, Crystal.
Mine will be statistics. Statistics is not your regular math. It's no formula. You plug it in. You have to think, and oh God. Yeah, statistics and microbiology. I love science and I love math, but microbiology and statistics were the two courses that made me want to quit every day. Every day. But it was just the fact of going through and actually understanding it, talking to my teachers, getting help, and understanding it and figuring it out, made it get my degree so much. It made me get my degree, and it made me feel so much better because, girl, you wanted to quit every day, but guess what? You made it because, yeah. So yeah, microbiology and statistics.
Okay. Ms. High.
I have the advantage over the other panelists up here because I've had 2 careers. I'm old enough to have had 2 careers. So the course that I enjoyed the most and that prompted me to be where I am today it wasn't a science course, it wasn't a health course, it was public speaking. It was one of my general education courses. So for the first part of my working career, I was in clinical practice, and the second half of my employment career, I'm in education. So I would say public speaking was my most valuable course.
Thank you.
There we go. Mine is organic chemistry, which I took after I finished undergrad, actually. And I say that because I really, really liked it, and I wasn't supposed to. Every medical student to be hates the hurdles of physics and organic chemistry, at least the ones that my clique did. And it really empowered me because I thought that I should have failed. I should have struggled really hard in that class, but I ended up really loving the predictability of it. It made so much sense. It was a beautiful science. It gave me a lot of passion for predicting how things should react together. It really revved my engine in a really weird way, but it was my thing. I loved organic chemistry.
Thank you. And Dr. Austin on the screen here.
I don't know that I had a favorite course, honestly, in high school. I made mostly A's, so for me, it was a little bit hard, not to sound arrogant, but just to kind of decide what is it that I really want to do, because I felt like my grades said I could do whatever. So I struggled a little bit with trying to figure that out. I think with work experience and just life, what I found that I absolutely love and is my clinical area of passion is women's health. But I didn't know that in high school, and I didn't know that even in undergrad either. It took time for me to figure that out. Now I can confidently say that that is the area that I enjoy, and that's the area that I've practiced in as a nurse practitioner for the past 15 years and counting.
Great, thank you. Now for Dr. Ben Davies, what are some undergraduate majors that are better for others in medical or pharmacy school? What are some undergraduate majors that are better for either medical or pharmacy school? What's some undergraduate?
Repeat that. What subjects are better? What majors are better to?
Yeah, what I guess undergraduate majors that work better with medical and pharmacy.
Oh, I really feel like you should major in whatever it is that interests you and take the prerequisite courses for medicine. To me, working with lots of medical students and people who have taken very circuitous paths to medicine, they're the most interesting, most textured type of doctors. You add so much to the clinical environment with a lot of perspectives. So having sat on decision panels for deciding which resident we should, admit to our program, the ones that appeal to us more are the people who have broad interests. And when they have interest, they delve deeply into it, but they're still strong academicians. So there is no really right major. I think actually the wrong major is to major in, biology or pre-med. It's kind of boring because college is so wide open. You can do whatever it is you're interested in, things that you won't have a chance to do once you get into medicine because it's so all consuming, as you guys probably understand. So I would say major in whatever it is that really drives your engine and do the things that will prepare you for the classroom in medical school, and you'll be successful.
Thank you. Dr. Mills, do you recommend an undergraduate major that can prepare you for medical or pharmacy school?
No, I don't recommend a major. I mean, traditionally they say take biology and chemistry, and that's how you'll get into medical school, pharmacy school, dental school. But like what was said, when you major in whatever you're interested in, and then take the courses that you need to be admitted into those schools. And like for me, I majored in exercise sports science. And the only reason why I majored in that is because I always thought my major at UNC was pre-pharmacy. So I said that for 2 years until I went to my advisor. And she said, well, like, you need to pick a major. And I'm like, oh, I'm majoring in pre-pharmacy. And she was like, no, that's not a major. That's just a track that you have to take certain courses. So I was a sophomore and I was like, oh, I'm sitting here, don't even have a major. So I said, oh, I'll pick exercise sports science because there's a lot of athletes in that class, and I was an athlete in high school, and I was like, I'll just see what that's about. I don't want to take any more chemistries and biologies than I have to, even though I enjoyed it. So I took exercise sports science, and it was a lot of human anatomy, human physiology. It was some biomechanics, which gave me some foundation in physics. And so I enjoyed it, but I don't think there was anyone in my class in pharmacy school who had that major. And it just gives you like you're unique when you major in what you want and you're passionate about that subject and you're able to talk about it. So just do whatever you want and then take the classes that you need to get into the program that you want.
Thank you. And Dr. McGraw, real quick, how long does it typically take to become a medical doctor or a pharmacist? How long does it process take for?
Well, you need of course, graduating high school. But after that, you need a bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science or Arts, which typically takes 4 years, but nowadays 3 to 5, 6, however many years to get that. And then you need to, of course, take your entrance exams. For pharmacy school, is it the PCAT? Medical school is MCAT. There's different entrance exams. There's different types of doctors and surgeons. There's foot doctors. They have a different school, but a typical school to become a doctor is typically 4 years, so that's what, 8 years so far, right? And then there's typically some type of training after that. We call it residency, but that can be anywhere from 1 year to 10 years, literally 1 to 10 years, depending on what you want to do. We have specialized pediatric brain surgeons and specialized pediatric heart surgeons that 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Or you may have someone that maybe wants to do family medicine. That's typically 3 years, something like that. So you have all that training. So you have to really want to do it. It has to be a calling. It has to be something on the inside. You can't do it because mama said do it or daddy said do it. It has to be something internal that's driving you, pushing you, motivating you to do all that. So
right. Sounds.
I will say this though, because some people will have medicine as a second career, and internally, or people will have, I'll be too old if I have to go back to school and do it. I'll be 32, or I'll be 42, or I'll be 53. But you're going to be 42 anyway. You're going to be 32 anyway. You're going to be 53 anyway. So if you're thinking about going into any medical profession, nursing, whatever, radiology tech, whatever, and you say, well, I don't want to spend 2 years. I'll be too old. you're gonna get older anyway, so you might as well do it.
Right, a great answer. Now, Ms. Hyde, what encouraged you to enter the field of education to train the dental hygienist workforce instead of remaining in the field of practice?
Let's say teaching is in my blood. My paternal grandfather was a teacher. My mother was a teacher. My sister is a retired teacher, and here I am almost 20 years in my second career as a teacher. Clinical practice as a dental hygienist wears on your skeletal muscle system. And as you get older, as Dr. McGuire said, you're gonna get 32, you're gonna get 42, and I'm gonna stop at 42. Your body takes a toll on your everyday repetitious activities. And the opportunity to become a dental hygiene instructor here at Halifax Community College landed in my lap. I'm a native of the area. I work with students who are from this area, so I understand the struggles that they have. I understand how they may be the first generation college student. I understand that they may not have had the chemistry courses, the science courses, the public speaking courses. They may not have been prepared to enter a healthcare career. But being a native of the area, I know what their struggle is. I try to be their mentor, and I'm here for them. And I'm putting my pitch in. If anybody's interested in dental hygiene, come see me. We like to keep our enrollment full. Clinical practice was great. I'll go in and tell you, I was in clinical practice for 25 years. You can do the math. I graduated from high school in 1975. So I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of changes in infection control. I've seen a lot of changes in our standards. I've seen a lot of changes in our work ethics. But if you're gonna be in healthcare, the first thing you have to understand is that you're providing a care for another human being.
All right, thank you very much. What I would like to do at this point is, I don't want to get confused here. Let's see if we can do. At this time, what I would like for each of the panelists to do is to briefly share some advice for our students who plan to enter the healthcare field. And what advice do you have to be competitive in the healthcare programs and that has a limited number of seats in some cases in some fields? So we'll start with Dr. Austin on the screen here. If you can share some advice for our students who plan to enter the healthcare field.
I would say it's really important to be able to articulate what you want to do. If you are going to apply to nursing school, for example, you want to articulate that you want to be a nurse. You want to be specific about it because people want to know that you want to be a nurse versus you're still trying to figure out what you want to do in healthcare. So be specific about it. I would say making sure that your application packet is strong, communicating with people around deadlines, if you need recommendation letters, transcripts sent, things of that sort, to make sure that others don't put a delay in you getting your application submitted on time, making sure that you have someone proofread your information so that you don't have typos on a resume or within your personal statements, even have someone read that and make sure that you are clearly stating what it is that you want to state. Please make sure that you are answering the questions that may be posed to you as a part of the interview process. So if the essay is asking you to write about X, Y, and Z, please write about X, Y, and Z, because that's what those people who are reviewing your application packet is going to be looking at. So those are some of the biggest things. And I think if you have to do a video interview, which some programs are moving towards, just making sure that you practice that. Sometimes it's hard to listen to yourself on screen. It's hard for me, like right now, just looking at myself and not seeing anybody else as I'm talking. So getting experience with speaking and hearing yourself speak to make sure that you're saying what you think you're saying would be my bits of advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. Dr. Ben Davies.
I'm going to be a little bit fluffy and say that I want everyone to know that they should focus on their strengths. So you might think that you'll be an awesome, dental hygienist or pharmacist or a social worker, but you might have strengths elsewhere and you might find your joy elsewhere, because the course to where we sit is so convoluted. And when we sit here, it's a little bit, you go through challenges. You really want to be driven by an internal, force that makes you sit where you're supposed to be sitting. So do some reflection, maybe take some strengths assessments to see what you're great at doing, because that'll give you an edge against people who you're applying with.
All right, thank you. Ms. High, if you could comment, please.
My best recommendation is to connect with someone who's already in the profession that you're seeking to go into. If you want to be a dental hygienist, come spend one day with me as a dental hygiene director.
Thank you.
I would say, know that this is exactly what you want to do, because doing it because somebody else is doing it or you think it makes a lot of money doesn't work. And know you're like she said, your strengths. I know I'm not a people person. I enjoy people, but I don't like people. So me being in the lab by myself in a corner is where my life depends at, is where I needed to be. So I knew me being out in the front wasn't for Crystal. So you just have to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and your whole purpose of going into the medical field.
Great, thank you, Crystal.
I think the need for people to go into the medical field now more than ever is at its highest. And so to even have an interest in that is great. And my advice is to, just, follow your goals, follow your dreams, find a mentor, write down your goals and, write down a plan, maybe have a plan B if you can't get into the medical field, but, just follow your dreams and find a mentor. And you have to get into it for the right reason. Like she said, the money's fine, money is great, but if you go into it for the money, 100%, you will be miserable. It has to be something greater than that. It has to be a higher purpose for you going into the medical field. And if you do that, and you follow your passion, follow your love, follow your heart, because your patients will pick up your intentions. They will pick up, are you really caring about me? Or are you just doing this for a job or for a paycheck? Subconsciously, they will pick up on that. And your coworkers will too. Your colleagues will too. So you have to do it for the right reasons. And if it's meant for you, it will happen 100%.
Thank you, Dr. Austin.
All right. Let's see. I would say your journey starts now. It doesn't begin after high school. It starts now. Start preparing for what your future, what you want to do. It starts now. Best thing I would give advice to is just continue to do you. Just work hard and have dedication. One thing I learned from the military is to never give up. That's one thing that has carried me on throughout my whole life. Never give up on yourself, never give up on your grades, never give up on your reality or life circumstance. Just continue to push and keep moving forward. And success will come your way. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say definitely do career exploration in the health field. Like, I think originally I was interested in health just because everyone told me I was smart, and when you're smart, you say, oh, be a doctor or be a lawyer, that type of thing. But once I was in college, I was in a pre-health club, and I learned about other opportunities in the health field, and that's when I learned about pharmacy. And I didn't even know what a physician assistant was until I got into college. So just knowing like what's out there in the health field, because you may think like you're leaning towards one way, but then you see that your strengths actually align with a different career, but it's still in healthcare. So I would definitely say that, and then continue to be involved and have leadership positions and work, and just show that you're a well-rounded candidate for the program. Even if those opportunities aren't related to healthcare, if it's something that they can see that you're passionate about helping and serving your community, you'll be able to shine and show that in your interview or to the admissions board, and they'll be able to see that you would be a great healthcare provider.
Thank you, Jade. Keisha?
The advice that I would give is the same advice that I gave to myself. And that advice is the only limitations in life are those that you put on yourself. So what I would say is that if healthcare is where your passion is where your strength lies, it is what you should go after. It will feel big in some instances. My first visit to Duke University, I was very intimidated. I questioned whether or not I belonged, whether or not it was a good decision, but I also persevered through that and actually did very, very well. So had I let myself be limited by what was in front of me, I would not have graduated with 2 degrees from Duke University. So do not put limitations on yourself. Do not be intimidated by what feels big. The first failed test, the first no that you get, you keep pushing, you keep going. The second piece of advice that I would give is be diverse in your thinking. Healthcare is not just doctors and nurses and pharmacists and dentists. I have a master's degree in healthcare informatics because I also, in addition to my love for nursing, I love computers. And I know that we're in a computer generation. That is an option. So as you think about healthcare, it doesn't have to be a traditional path. You can also widen that path and say, yes, I want to do this, but I also want to do that.
Thank you very much. And Jamaria?
Sure. I would first say find your passion. Find what you would do, whether you were going to get paid for it or whether it was for free, right? Sometimes you're never going to get back what you're going to put out in terms of dealing with other people's lives and meeting them where they are. I would also say enhance your life skills, right? One of the things that you're going to need to know is that you may be super smart, you may have all the academics, but how you make people feel when you meet them will be important. I think Maya Angelou said it best herself. They never forget. People will forget what you've done for them, but they will never forget how you make them feel, right? So your life skills, how you meet people, how you're willing to learn, whether you're willing to listen, all that will matter as you're choosing your career.
All right, thank you. Thanks to everyone for participating in this panel today, and it was very insightful, and it actually brought a lot home to me. I have a daughter who's graduating from the University of North Carolina with a degree in nursing. We are planning her graduation celebration, and in the 5 years that I've been monitoring her progress, I was just amazed of how the number of opportunities she has. She's studied in Greece, her second, I think, or third year. And then the pandemic hit, of course, and you guys have been on the front line with that, and you probably have seen just about everything you want to see. And as the American population is getting older, we're going to need more and more healthcare providers in just about every aspect of the health field, not only just with nurses and doctors, but just recovery, psychology, science. With the virtual, you mentioned computers, there are virtual nurses and doctors that we're going to need. So it's just a tremendous opportunity. My daughter, she hadn't even graduated yet and has several offers to work locally as well as across the country. So again, I want to thank you for being a part of the panel and sharing your knowledge and experience. How about giving everybody a round of applause on our panel today? And this concludes this panel discussion, and we turn the floor back over to Ms. Kimberly Mack.
I want to thank Ms. Frazier for introducing our moderator and Mr. Travis Gales for being our moderator today. So let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
The panel has shared key information with us, and I hope you share this information with your friends. The recording of today's event will be posted on our website for a week. It's on the front of our webpage. You can click on the banner from today. You can be able to see this recording. And then you can go to news and events and you should be able to see this as well. We'll also have this video from today on our YouTube channel. Next, we're going to have a special presentation. And for sake of time, I'm going to ask all of the panelists, you already have your plaque of appreciation at your desk or at your table. If you'll pick it up and come to the front of the table, and I'm going to ask Dr. Forrester and Dr. Isley to join me on the stage for a photo presentation. And after the photo, we will have closing remarks and our program will be closed by our acting president, Dr. David Forrester. And Dr. Alston will make sure that we mail your plaque. Thank you.
As we close today's event, thank you for everyone that participated in today's forum about Native residents of the Roanoke Valley and healthcare careers. A special program thanks today for all of our panelists, our moderator, and to Nash UNC Healthcare for sponsoring today's event. I want us to certainly think about the influence that you've heard today. I think we heard the phrase, keeping it real. I think that's certainly what you can see from today. And I hope from the student base here at the college that you've been able to learn what you have to do to overcome obstacles and challenges being successful in medical careers. And that the examples that you see on the stage are those from the Roanoke Valley who have succeeded in doing so. So thank you very much for our participants today for being involved in today's program. I also want to say a special word of thanks to Kim Mack for organizing today's program. Other special thanks go out to the Northampton County High School Junior ROTC, House Productions, Caroline Harris in our IT department, the HCC security team, HCC student ambassadors, Sinclair Nicholson and the HCC mentorship program here at the college, and the business office for making today's program a success. Please join us next week as we'll have our final program for Black History Month. It'll be a week from today on the 24th, and it'll be at 10 o'clock also like today's event here in the Dr. Irvin Griffin Center. Beginning March 1st, we will be accepting nominations for the Community Bridge Builders Award. Please continue to refer to our website for future events and upcoming schedules. And thank you very much today for your participation in today's event. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.